Today I make another video. Yeah, I'm back on the grind. I don't know if this will continue. I will just videos when I want to. Yesterday, I say this in every fucking video, but yesterday again I had a moment where I was like, nah, no videos anymore. And today I don't care so much. Every time when I don't care, I end up doing a video. When I don't give a fuck, you know? Yeah, so this time I'm pretty proud of myself because I'm really fast with the last chapter. I worked on it for like almost 2 weeks, and maybe I can upload the 9th chapter of Stormbreaker even today. Like, that would have been really cool. It's kind of cool that I work on this manga and you kind of see the journey behind it, how someone hopefully makes it big. You know, it's really cool. Like, imagine you see someone who starts off with a really small subscriber count, but then they become a famous artist. I hope that happens to me. I don't give up. I will do it. And then they become a really popular artist, and you can see them starting from the bottom, starting from nothing. Like that's a really inspirational story. Because most of the time we see people when they're already famous, but in my case, you really can see a documentary how I work out with almost nothing and I keep going and I keep grinding. I think that truly I can be really proud of myself. Even though I'm not a popular artist yet, I think I can already be proud of myself. And the story continues, you know? And I think my art is already good, you know? So, yeah. I was really fast with this chapter. I didn't was like, being like, yeah, don't, like, it was not like I didn't put effort into it. I've put a lot of effort into it. But for some reason, I was working a lot on it, a lot more. You know, on the other chapter, sometimes I would just work half an hour a day on a chapter. But with this, I worked like at least 4 to 5 hours every day on a chapter. And I'm really excited for you to share it. I really want to know what you think about it when it's published. Maybe today, tomorrow, or next week. I don't know how far we'll go. Maybe today already. I don't know for sure. I will continue grinding. And yeah, I'm pretty stable right now. I feel just really happy, and I want to become a great artist. I want to become a famous artist, an artist people look up to. An artist that stands out from the rest, you know? That people can look to and be like, yeah, this is this one artist. This one artist, you know, that stands out. That has really cool skills. Because my skills are not there yet. And also being a good storyteller. I think that's even more important to me than being a good artist. But being a good artist is also a goal I have, you know? I don't know. And yeah, I was still thinking of maybe going to art school. I'm also thinking of, what if I go out and travel the world, you know? It's pretty unusual because, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago, I was like, yeah, I don't want to go out of my house. I don't like to travel around. This is really exhausting. This is really stressful. But now I'm thinking, what if I travel to different cities and go into museums and learn, see the world, and getting inspired. I think that just can make my art better. Traveling can just make my art better, you know? Imagine if I sit in a city and I'm sitting in a cafe and then I draw like the city, or even painting. I mean, that's really hard, but what if I can do that? What if I can do that? You know, like, that would have been really cool. It would make me probably a better artist for sure. Yeah. So, maybe I want to experience life. Maybe there is something to life. Maybe sadness is there, but it is a process and you can get out of your sadness if you keep going, if you don't give up. Even if in the moment we are sad, we don't really believe that we are getting out of it, but you can get out of it if you keep going and you keep fighting for your dreams. I know I sound like a fucking shonen protagonist who is coming out of a big villain arc. That was my depression, but I don't care. I don't care. You can call me a cringe kid. I don't give a fuck. I don't think cringe is even a thing. You know? I don't care. I'm a tryhard and I don't give a fuck what you think of me. I mean, my community doesn't think bad of me. I get really nice comments. But if there should be an idiot around watching this video and be like, why is this person trying so hard? It's so cool that I always have something to tell. That's kind of cool. I'm trying to become my favorite person, This is something I never really understood before, that people can become their favorite person. Like this whole thing of if you want to find someone else and you truly want to fall in love, you have to become your own favorite person yourself. You have to be the person you like the most, And I was hearing that and I was always like, yeah, I can't do that. I need someone else in my life that I love. I can't, there is nothing interesting about myself. But now I'm starting more and more to like myself. I mean, I still think that maybe there will be moments. I'm in a really happy mode right now, but sometimes this can be a little bit disillusional because I'm pretty sure I still will have moments, or maybe not, but maybe it can happen that I still have moments where I kind of feel sad and I wish I would be in a relationship. But it got much better over the last days. So I hope it continues like this because I just want to live a happy life. That's it. Yeah, so I don't know if I will continue this YouTube thing, as I said. You'll see me or not, but you surely will see me doing my art. And something I will do for sure is posting on Instagram, because on Instagram I can post my art. So if you don't hear from me on YouTube anymore, you can follow my Instagram, because on my Instagram I will always post my art, because I want to make a big art account that a lot of people follow, And yeah, and I will always post my manga. So I'm not gone from the internet. I want to become a public person. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I read a little bit of Nietzsche. I don't know, maybe even reading helps your brain. I watched yesterday a video where someone was talking about how reading is changing your brain. I forgot what it actually does with your brain, but it changes some areas in your brain. Some areas become bigger when you read. You get more creative. You get more. Your memory becomes better when you're reading. Actually, I noticed this already. So yeah, reading is good for your brain. Actually, reading makes me kind of happy, it makes me fulfilled in life. It gives my life a meaning. You can learn so much about life through reading, because you get into the brain of other people talking about certain perspectives on life. So that's really cool. So I recommend everybody to read good stuff. Of course, you should choose your books wisely. I'm reading Nietzsche right now. There's so much stuff I could read. Maybe I want to go more into psychology or philosophy. Maybe I can talk about it one day. The problem is, when I read books like this, it's really hard for me to put into words what I actually read. So I can't really talk about it. Nietzsche has a lot of thoughts. He's criticizing a lot of things. He's talking about Europe, the state of Europe to that time. He's talking about so much what is going on in the world. He's getting into so much detail about humans. He has kind of a, it's really relatable. Like his perspective on humans are, I have kind of a feeling he thinks that humans are can be really awful, but he sees a lot of like like I'm not quite sure if I got it right, but it feels like he feels like there is potential in us humans, but we humans don't do it. And I feel like that too. This is kind of what I get out of it, and this is what I think too. I fucking despise humanity. I have days where I'm like, I hate humans. I mean, I like my environment. I have good people around me who care for me, are really nice to me, and I love to have good conversations. But there's so much shit that I don't want to go on social media anymore. And when I do something that makes me happy, I don't go on social media anymore. And I hope that stops completely, because I just do that when I kind of need something because I'm kind of feeling bored. And there's so much trash online, on TikTok, on Instagram. I just don't like that. There is so why do I watch so many idiots? The whole time I'm going online, I'm like, why are there so many idiotic people? Why am I wasting my time with this? I could do something, I create, but then I feel even more better about myself, and when I create something, and I feel like, yeah, I'm creating something genius. I have no joke this feeling a lot over the last days, where I feel like I'm better than everybody else. Like, I truly think I am better than everybody else. That I don't would say not around the people I like. I don't look at my friends and I'm like, yeah, I'm better than my friends. No, but like at a decent number, about a decent number of people that are living in this humanity. I think a lot of people are idiotic, and I just look at my heart and I'm like, I'm better. I'm a genius. And at the beginning, I felt really bad about those thoughts. I felt like I'm stupid. Why do I think this? Those are stupid thoughts. Like, if you would say that online, people just laugh at you. Because you sound like a fucking Naruto character. You sound like Naruto. You sound like an annoying shonen protagonist. But I don't care anymore. I don't give a fuck anymore. Maybe I have thoughts that nobody says out. And for some reason, I think especially in our generation, you see that online. There is so much the same uninspirational stuff. Everybody wants to be an NPC. Everybody is too adult to call themselves a main character. And nobody wants to be special. Because special is apparently cringe. And if you have thoughts that are out of the norm, then you are a crazy person. Even if that's not true. Like, I mean, yes, I have schizophrenia, but being really crazy is something else. And I think I know what it means to be crazy. But you are so easily a crazy person for some people. People judge you so easily that you can't have original thoughts. You are a weirdo. And I think a lot of people think so much about that they want to present themselves perfectly online. Like, when I say this stuff about the stuff with people in real life, it's a totally another experience. People don't care so much. But we consume, and our generation is consuming a lot of stuff online. So we get influenced by that. And nobody in our generation wants to be special. Like, even when you listen to old music from the 80s, every artist was so unique. There was not this concept of being cringe. They just were trying to make the best out of their life. And we don't have this anymore. Our generation is just trying so hard to adapt, to be normal. Everybody wants to be super normal. If you are being a little bit different than everybody else, then you're wrong. And the stupid thing is, I don't mean different in a weird way. Because think about it, we are individuals, and it totally makes sense that everybody has their own thoughts. But for some reason, everybody is adapting so hard to the mainstream that nobody want, like, the moment you have a thought that nobody seems to have, something is wrong with you and you feel bad about yourself, and then you get depression. I'm talking about this from my own experience, and I'm done with that. I just want to be myself. I don't care. And I truly believe, like, if people tell you, like, oh, nobody is unique, we're all the same, you are not special, I don't think that's true. I think there are people who are just NPCs because they're just living normal life. They don't think on their own. They just consume mainstream stuff. They're not thinking. I mean, if you're just consuming, without creating, without taking your time to think for your own, then you can't be unique, you know? If you're not questioning anything. And I don't mean you have to force to be unique. I don't talk about people forcing on, like, those people I also don't like when somebody forces to be unique. I just mean someone who just happens to have some thoughts that make them stand out from the rest. Yes, those people exist and there are special people. And yes, you could, I don't believe in the sentence everybody is special from their own, because I think a lot of people are just, there's a majority of people that is just fitting into the mainstream and are not special. They're just NPCs. But there are also a lot of people who are special from their own. And then there are people who are not just special from their own, but they're special as a human compared to the rest of humanity, that stand out so much that they are kind of a unique person that you don't come across every fucking day. It's a little bit of difference to saying that everybody's kind of special for their own, you know? And I'm truly thinking I am this person. I truly think I kind of understand that zeitgeist, and you can call me a native 28-year-old. I don't care. I just think like that. And I don't want to question myself like, oh, I'm too young to know that. I don't care. Maybe in 50 years I know it better. And then I know what actually the truth is. But that doesn't matter in the end, because right now I'm allowed to have this kind of opinion. And this is all right. And if it should change in 50 years, I learned a new lesson, and that's all right too. But that doesn't, you don't have to be full of wisdom and know always the answer. If you truly think like, I think this is like this right now, then do that and don't question yourself and be like, oh, I shouldn't think that. You know, you're not allowed to have your own thoughts. I think the generation of our parents doesn't care so much if we young people create our own thoughts, but I think apparently it's Gen Z itself. I don't really talk about millennials. I'm Gen Z, so I think Gen Z itself is trying so hard to not be smart. Like, if you are, like, you have to talk like everybody. You're not allowed to be smart. I think it's the people in our own age who do that. You know, if you are smart, something is wrong with you. Yeah, how can you be unique? Like, this is not possible. You are just a boring person. There's nothing special to you. We're just boring. Yeah, maybe those people think they're boring, but it's not okay to put that on everybody else. You know, but maybe I'm really pessimistic. Maybe there are people who really think that about themselves. And if they would meet me, they would realize that I'm kind of unique. And already that sounds arrogant to some people, but I don't mean it in an arrogant way. I don't mean it like I'm better than this person. I don't mean it like this. I just say that I kind of have a lot of times thoughts where I just think totally different. And then I don't find anyone who can relate to this. And then I feel like, yeah, I'm kind of alone with my thoughts, but I think my thoughts still matter. And maybe I have to bring those thoughts into the world, because maybe just a lot of people didn't thought about it. I mean, think about it like that. If a lot of people, for example, watch anime, and even you can learn a lot from watching anime, I think. Maybe it depends on who you are, what you're doing else in your life, you know? But when people consume a lot of stuff. Like, the more you consume stuff, the lesser time you have to actually process that stuff and really reflect about it. There are some people consuming stuff, anime, but they also take their time to think about it and actually reflect what they watched. But some people just binge watch. And that's alright. I don't care if those people are doing this. You can do what you want. But I don't really watch a lot of anime. I produce more my own stuff. So my brain is probably working differently than someone who watches a lot of anime. And I don't mean I'm better than this person. Not at all. I'm just living my life in a different way. But maybe I'm the kind of person who can give a lot of people, for example, in my art, new thoughts because I take so much time in creating. Maybe I am one of the kind who's not watching a bunch of Netflix. I think a lot of more people in our generation watch a lot of more TV shows, a lot of more anime, So someone who does this so much, they spend more on social media. I guess I have different kind of thought processes. And that makes me kind of an underdog, but maybe those thoughts are interesting to a lot of people. So, yeah. Those are just my thoughts. Still, I'm not quite sure sometimes if I should do those videos, because I don't see them as art. But then should I really care about being an artist so much and just should be proud every time I create? Maybe it's not really of how often I make art, but maybe art means that the moment I do it, I am an artist and not how much art I do. Of course, if you're doing it a lot more, you're getting better in a craft. That's true. But I think art can be judged by the pure craft. I truly think that because, well, if you are having more skills, you can express much more. But even if you are not this kind of artist who's producing, just not stopping painting, I think even then you can create interesting art with expression. Because then you could, maybe you are an artist who travels a lot and you may not paint the whole time, but you live your life also. You observe things and then you draw it down. And even if you're not as skilled as an artist who draws every day, your art could be more expressive because you put a lot of life into your art. And I think art is even influenced by how somebody lives their life. And I think the way you paint is even influenced by how you live your life, what you saw in your life, how you observe reality. A good example is anime, because we have a lot of isekai mangaka and animators, and those people are really famous for just copying isekai from each other. They don't see life. They just sit in their room over 20 hours just drawing an isekai. This is not art. They do it a lot. They do it still really not that great. It doesn't even look good, but they spend so much time on drawing. But somebody who spends less time on drawing and actually experiences life too has much more to tell and has much more meaningful art to tell. So I don't think you should think I have to paint the whole day and I have to paint so much I can. No, it's solely it's I think part of your art is even taking breaks from your art and going outside and experiencing life. And if you really want to do something, if it makes you feel happy and it has nothing to do with your art, then do it, because happiness is, I think, truly can be a thrive for creating good art, because happiness makes us feel good. But it's not just that. Happiness is a bigger feeling than you think, because when your brain is happy, your brain works better. So when your brain works better, you produce better stuff. It just makes sense. So when you are a really happy person, you will produce better um, art. So even if you do stuff that has nothing to do with your art, you are still a happy person. And I think you should just do what makes you happy. And I think it's not even that hard. Even if it sounds like, I mean, yes, we have to be kind of careful when it comes to consuming. Because like people could say like, oh, I'm just spending a bunch of money on stuff that makes me happy. But is that really healthy for me? Well, I don't know, but I think if you are a healthy human being, if you are forcing yourself to work out and eating healthy, you have the base for having a healthy brain that I think it can affect your life in every aspect so deeply that everything else that you enjoy will not be overdone because your brain is able to have enough discipline that you can control yourself automatically. I just have that with myself, like because I'm eating healthy and I'm going out and I have this kind of discipline, I just can have enjoyment in buying something, but in small pieces, and I don't need so much. I don't care so much. You stop caring about buying stuff, but when you buy something, you truly feel good about you because there's nothing wrong with sometimes buying something that makes you happy when you putting a lot of value to it. And I think if you are a sporty fit person, then you are able to control yourself without forcing yourself to stop buying stuff. I don't have to, like I myself, I'm someone, because I know how it feels to be healthy, to do sport, to have discipline, I just look at buying clothes in a totally another way. It makes me happy, but it's not the most important thing. But because it's not the most important thing, I can allow myself to buy stuff because I know I don't have to force control on myself. It happens automatically. I think if you're doing sport, you don't have to care about anything else in your life anymore. Everything will fall together. I truly believe that. This is just my experience. Maybe it's different for other people, but I mean, I'm not even someone who spends a lot of money on stuff in general. So I don't have to worry if I spend some money on stuff. Because buying stuff is never really something that makes me super happy. It's like I don't do it at the moment because I don't have a lot of money, but if I do it a little bit. I'm happy with it for a short time, but then I automatically, without telling myself, I can go back to art and that's it. You know? So this is like the thing. Art is so deep in my heart that I will always do it here and there. So I don't have to worry to not do enough art. So that makes my art already good enough. So that means I'm supposed to be an artist. And if you have such a hard time with doing art, maybe it's not the right thing for you. Maybe you are not an artist. Maybe you are an artist because your heart chooses to do art. Because, of course, you have moments where you have to do discipline in art. But even those moments don't feel like force. Like there's a difference in forcing yourself and drawing something you don't really want to draw and you don't want to do it and it's just painful. I mean, still people create wonderful art, but I think if you have the choice, you shouldn't do it. And there's a difference, but by being like, okay, like I'm gonna do reference art now. I'm gonna practice anatomy now, and it's not something that fulfills me, but I'm just gonna have enough discipline, and already grinding and having discipline makes me happy. Like this whole concept of having discipline and creates happiness in me that I just have fun drawing anatomies. You can create happiness. Happiness not always starts with being happy at the first place. It's a thought process you have to do. Sometimes you have to explain yourself like, I'm gonna have some discipline to reach a certain goal, and looking up to this goal makes me happy, and already thinking of this goal makes me happy. So thinking of this goal fulfills me with happiness, and then I want to do it. But I think the answer to everything is happiness. And the only thing that is more important is health, but health will bring you to happiness. and then you can do art. And if art chooses you, then you will create good art. It's simple as that, you know? And if you're not the kind of person, then don't force it on yourself. But if you think, and I don't know how you think about art, I still have to figure it out, and I want to have a clear answer to everything. This is kind of something I want. But I'm getting more closer to the solution. I always want to find solutions. I'm a German. But I just think that I will come. I'm at the moment now where I think like I can trust the process. Like sometimes when I was stopping doing art, I felt like, what if I will not come back to it a couple of days? But that never was the case. I always like was doing something and then I was just getting back into it. You know, of course, it is also because probably I'm so used to it already that I've kind of created a routine. But I mean, as a kid, I didn't had a routine. I didn't had this concept of discipline, but I still kept going back to drawing. As an adult, it's not that easy anymore. But because I'm so used to drawing when I was a kid already, I just do it my whole adult life too, you know? So I'm just kind of a person who's doing it that way. And maybe it's not even something I choose to do. Maybe it's my brain that needs to do that. Maybe my brain wants to express itself in art, you know? Um, so I came to the conclusion that because this was the hardest thing, that what if I spend my time with something else instead of art? Can I allow myself to do those breaks? And I did, because I became lazy and stopped doing less art. And the more and more I did that and did breaks, the more happier I became. And the happier I became, the more and more I came back to my art. And the more and more I decided to make those small breaks, but the more and more I came back to my art, because making art felt like something special. Because this is the problem. I think a lot of artists could be much more productive in their art if they wouldn't force art on themselves. Because the reason why artists choose to do art is because they like to draw. But when you force it on yourself so hard and you feel like you have to go through a lot of pain, you're not living your life in the right way. And I don't think art is more important than having a happy life. It's just a drawing. It sounds painful to say. Of course, art has a lot more than just drawings. But in the end, it's just putting a pencil on the paper, you know. And there's so much. Having a child, having babies, being a parent, can be so much more fulfilling than drawing, because you're actually interacting with humans, you know. So question yourself sometimes, am I doing it right? Like, it's not that you shouldn't do art, it's the relation you should have to your art. So what I mean of that is, I think art should feel special when you're doing it. And I think when you're doing art, you should do it because it makes you feel good now. And I mean with that, so what I mean with that is, that mean that you always have it easy. It doesn't mean that you always feel happy, you know? That's not what I believe. I mean, no, you should always be excited about it. And happiness is not such something that makes you feel like, yeah, like I think sometimes we think happiness is something that makes you feel easy. That is like, oh, everything just comes together. No. You should just do art when you feel happy, because there's a kind of happiness you can have where you draw something and you focus on it and you're constantly happy. I mean, you don't look like, it's not like you look happy. You can be totally focused into the task, but being focused and disciplined makes you happy. And it can be for 3 hours. I mean, you should do breaks in those 3 hours. Draw half an hour, then take a break for 10 minutes, then go back to art, you know? But I think you should just draw when it makes you happy, when you create original art. I mean, I say that. I think this is how it should be. The problem is, I mean, when you're not doing it as a job, when you're doing it as a job, I kind of understand that you have to do it, but I don't do it as a job right now, you know. But even when you're doing it as a job, I think it shouldn't get to the point that it harms your body. And this is sadly not the reality for Japanese artists, but not even for American animators. Like, a lot of people in the animation and comic industry are overworked. And that's a big issue. I think even though doing it as a job is not always fun, because you have to do it as a job, but it shouldn't get to the point that someone is overworked. It should be a job. If it makes you happy or not, well, if you want to do this kind of job and it's the best job you can do, then go for it. But if you are doing art not as a job, and you're choosing it in your free time, and you have the possibility to work, like you have another job that gives you money and you're doing art, and I recommend this a lot of people. I'm not working at the moment, but I want to go into into software engineering, because then I can work half part-time on programming, and the other time I can work on my art. I don't want to live from my art because it's too stressful for me. But even in the time where I'm doing my art, I don't want to force art on myself, you know? But then I have this feeling of like, but I want to produce a big project. How can I go with that? Like, when I choose when I do it, do I then still do it serious? And there's a way to do it serious without forcing it too hard on yourself. And I think if you're choosing art as a way where you don't have to think about gaining money, you should get yourself always 100% into a mood of doing it just when you really want to do it. And I can tell you, if you are having a life together and art is something you're supposed to do, then you will do it a lot. Because this is the problem. I think a lot of artists think, yeah, then I'm just gonna play a game. But that's not true. I don't give a fuck about gaming. I don't really give a fuck about anime. I just watch anime when I want to. I just play games when I want to. And yes, you can get yourself, without forcing it on yourself, to get yourself into a momentum where you're just more excited of drawing. You can get yourself, I don't know how I do it. I'm just so used to it that I don't think you should practice it, or maybe you can, but you shouldn't force it on yourself. And you can get yourself in a momentum where you just go back to your art, and it happens automatically. And I think art that is created like that is much more meaningful, because this person is really excited of telling a certain kind of story. Like when you, in my case, draw a comic story, that I just keep doing it. And I sit down and I just don't think like, oh, I have to draw a chapter, I don't want to do it. No. And I tell you a bunch of trash that you don't give a fuck about. No, I sit down and I actually want to tell something, and I'm really excited about it. And because I'm excited about it, I sit down and actually think, how can I make this the most interesting way possible? And how can I challenge myself? And I don't think it's just because I'm the chosen one. I think it is because I'm healthy, and because I understand how the human brain works a little bit. I'm not a brain scientist, but I know from brain science that when you are happy, when you do something that makes you happy, then your brain works. And this is what brain science knows. Your brain works better, you learn faster, you learn better. When you're doing something, so that means a happy artist learns probably better. I don't mean that someone who is not happy can't create good art. There are so many artists who are suffering so much, but they create amazing art. But what if this person is happy, excited? Would they not even create better art? You know? It's really hard. It's no, I truly think that, and I don't mean that when you are happy you create happy art. No, no, no. I think when you are happy you can still create like the most traumatizing, most depressing story in life. Like that has nothing to do with what you actually express on paper. That is something totally different. There is so much going on in your brain and our feelings. But maybe that I just know. I'm at the moment right now where I just know I will come back to my art. I'm like a robot. I'm just continue. It's like eating. Like art is like part of it. It has to be like breathing. That you need to do it naturally. Then you can become this big artist. And you truly are chosen to be an artist, because there are people who just want to become artists because they like the idea of being a big artist, but they don't really have ambition. There's a lot of people can have the idea, I would be famous, people would see me in museums, but they don't really have this whole like ecstasy when they draw. They don't feel it. And I think everybody can draw, and maybe everybody could get into the state, I don't know. But I still think, there are people who want to be musicians. There are people who want to be footballers. So people have different kind of hobbies. Not everybody wants to be an artist. But I think a lot of people don't even know how to approach it right, So I truly think that art should be a natural way of being. It should be part of you, something you have to do, but in a healthy manner. So you draw, but you just draw when you have everything else in your life together. And you have to have this attitude to your art, that you're not spending more on your art and your life just becomes a shithole. But you have your art. This is not how it should be. I know. Even if that happens, you shouldn't blame yourself for it, because we're humans and not everybody has a perfect life. Not everybody has their shit together. That doesn't mean you're all a human being, but you should, to have a healthy mind. Yeah, that's just really important. I don't have my life all together also right at the moment, but I'm pretty close to it, So I kind of know already how it is, and it keeps me moving forward. That leads me to the final point, that when I know I will come back to my art, doing a YouTube video doesn't feel like a waste of time, because I had that at the beginning, but it was not really the issue. And I was searching for the solution, and I think I have the solution. I'm not 100% sure. Sometimes I think like I have a solution, and then the next day I'm like, I don't have a solution. This was just a weird thought in my head. But right now I think like I will come back to my art. So the reason why I'm doing a video right now is a reason. There must be a meaning behind it. We don't know if I will do a video in the next days. I'm really unsure about it. Maybe I'm in the process of doing videos right now, and there's a way for me to express it, but maybe I will stop doing videos for the next 3 years from tomorrow. I'm still unsure. Like with YouTube, I don't really feel convinced. I just do it when I feel like I kind of want to do a video. And even then, I sometimes have the thinking of like going into the grind. Like sometimes I envision myself going into the grind, and I feel like, yeah, I can do this more often, but I don't trust this anymore. So I'm in a moment now where I do YouTube videos when I want to, and I don't, like when I say like I'm on the grind right now, this is the thought I have in a moment, but it's not a thought that makes me, that I think all the time. And I don't care about this thought anymore. So I changed my mind. I talked about this already. So right now I'm kind of in for the grind. But from experience, I know that I had days where I was like, I don't care about the grind. I don't care about YouTube at all. I don't want to do YouTube videos. So we will see. maybe I have a moment, like, maybe I never want this kind of moment where I feel like I'm gonna do YouTube videos every day, because maybe I just don't want to make YouTube feel like something I have to do. Because I want to be an artist. I don't want to be a YouTuber. YouTube is just a fun thing to do. And the only thing that keeps me doing it is when you already establish something, you already create a channel, you did already some videos, and you see a certain community there, like 600 people subscribe to you, you're much more motivated to actually keep doing it, because you feel like you already created something. You already make a place where something like people are watching you. That kind of keeps me moving forward with YouTube, but it's still not enough that I would still say I would continue doing it. And I never know. Maybe I never will say, maybe my whole life I will be like, I'm just doing YouTube when I want to. And if there could be, I'm pretty sure about this, it can happen. I don't know what my life will be like in the future, but it can happen that I will be in phases in my life where I will not doing any YouTube videos. And then for 5 years I'm gone. And maybe after 5 years I will come back to YouTube and I will do another video. It could happen. When I feel so excited about life that I will want to do other stuff in my life than YouTube, then I will not do YouTube. YouTube is not something, you see a lot of people on YouTube to do that, and it's their most important thing. It's like the biggest hobby they have. That in my case, I mean, a lot of people do it for money, but in my case, it's just something I do. It's not a hobby. I don't see it as a hobby. A hobby is something you coming back to. It's something that feels fun in the moment, but it's just something I try out and that's it. It's not a hobby. It's not a hobby, you know? It's just something, it feels more like an experiment. Just something I'm sometimes feel like I kind of want to do that right now. I want to try out something, but I could disappear in the next fucking 5 years. And I hope that doesn't give people anxiety. I don't hope that. Because I don't want to make people feel bad. But as I said, like, I'm not gone. I'm still doing my art. And like, if you see me doing my art, that's already something you can be happy about. And I'm on my Instagram. So you have to understand that YouTube is just a thing. I mean, I did this channel when I was 16. I deleted a lot of videos. But since from the beginning, I was always the person who was like, I'm gonna do YouTube videos, and then I was like gone for like a year because I was like not interested in it. Then I came back and I was like, I kind of want to do YouTube videos again, and then I was gone again. YouTube never kept me so invested that I was like, I want to do it. Because I just don't think those videos are that meaningful. I mean, there is a lot of stuff you can get out of those videos. I'm pretty sure about that. Makes me actually feel good to think about this more like that. But I still think it's just a little experiment, you know. And the thing that made me struggle about it was that's a problem. When I did like videos and then I stopped doing it, and then I felt bad about it because I was like, well, I wasted my time doing those videos now. And now I wasted my time on those videos. And it just is ass because nobody's really watching them and I wasted my time on them. But now I am in a moment where I don't care about that. Like, even if I spend like 50 minutes talking on a video and then I stop doing it and I don't grow my channel anymore, because like, if you don't do videos, you don't grow your channel. Or like, in my case at least, you know. I don't even grow when I do videos, but whatever. I mean, if I keep doing it, there's just, you could think like, okay, maybe I grow then. Maybe I can grow a community then. If you keep doing it, maybe you can grow, you know? But I'm in a moment where I don't care about this anymore because my videos are momentum, and I think my videos are way part of my journey of an artist. I wouldn't consider them art, but they're still like a little documentary of me as an artist. And it's something I do. And I mean, if I become a big artist, I think more people will go on my channel and they just will listen to the videos and they will see like, I really have a lot of confidence in this. And to all the people watching this in the future, you have to understand that I have on the videos like 10 clicks. I'm not successful right now with anything I do, but I have so much confidence and belief that I just know I think more people will watch. Maybe not crazy a lot of people, but maybe when I become a big artist, maybe more people will be interested. I'm not 100% sure it's YouTube. It depends. Maybe I have to get a really big person to do that. And I don't know if that will happen. But if it should happen, then I think people will go back. And that already gives me a momentum of like, this is okay to do. This is part of the journey of becoming an artist. Or like being more seen for your art, you know? And it says something about me. It's a little bit like seeing a biography, you know? So there's nothing wrong about this. And for me, it's not about the clicks or something. I mean, it becomes more interesting if more people see it, because then more people are interested in it and it inspires them in a way, you know? But it's already a momentum of an artist growing. And that's already enough for me that it feels like this is meaningful. Even if nobody's really watching it, it feels meaningful to me. And that means that the reason that it feels meaningful to me makes me feel like I grow as a person, and it will make my art even better. I think the moment I do a video, I learn something. I put a lot of thoughts out. I speak them out loudly. I hear them. My brain is processing my speaking, so I'm convinced there's something going on in my brain, and I grow as a person when I do a video. I'm pretty convinced by that. And I just think that it makes me a better artist. And it makes an influence on my art, you know? The fact that I choose to do a video instead of doing my art, and the fact that I felt the need to share something with the world. I don't usually can have thoughts like, the more I talk, the more I can pull out thoughts that are deeply in my brain that I couldn't touch before. The more I talk, the deeper I get into my brain and the more interesting things I have to say. And this is something I noticed, that so talking already makes me a more expressive person. And I don't know what talking makes with your brain, what area in your brain are like working, I don't know, but the fact that I'm doing it now, that I am as art, like look at the like an artist that someone would write a book about an artist, and you see all the art, and then you see like this artist wrote a letter or like a diary entry about something, and they felt the need to just write this letter or this big text, and it has nothing to do with the stuff the artist usually, like the artist is usually famous for oil paintings, but then they make like a letter and they just write a lot of stuff down. And you see this in artists' journeys, that they do different stuff, not always like painting, you know? And you see them, and it's just so interesting because you see this person, this artist just felt the need to express themselves to the world like this in a moment. So it's part of the art journey of this artist. And this is how I feel about my YouTube videos. I feel like I felt the need to get a break from my art and share something with the art, with the world, that already says so much about what a soul I am. It shows that I am a really like a soul that has a lot of inside of herself and wants to get a lot of stuff out there. And it also says so much about my life, that I'm a kind of lonely person. I have some friends, but not a lot. And I want to tell something out there, you know? And it even says something about how I approach my art, that I am someone who takes breaks and then comes much more excited back to the art. It also says that I'm an artist who doesn't give a fuck about their art too much. But me not giving a fuck about my art makes me giving an even bigger fuck about my art. Because I don't take my art too serious. And sometimes I just want to be like, I'm like a monkey. This is why I'm called Moonkey. I do a video and I feel like I want to talk about that now. And I don't give a fuck about my art at the moment. That sounds like someone who would give up on their art when you're not stop thinking about it. Are you even an artist? No. Like, I don't give a fuck about my art. I just want to do a video now. I'm super lighthearted. And then I just come back to my art. And I'm super excited again. And I don't give a fuck. I think that truly sounds like a really lovely person, and I like myself more now. And I don't know, like, this video is really cool, actually. I think a lot of people should watch that video in the future. And maybe, even if it takes me like 50 years or never, I don't give a fuck. I want that. Even if it doesn't happen, I don't care. I want that. I want a million people to watch that. And maybe I'm gonna share it in 10 years on my social media. Maybe when I have more like people watching me, I'm like, you should watch this video because it's dope. Maybe that will happen. There's an airplane flying beside my room right now, and I see that as a sign. I'm not really spiritual. I'm not like crazy or something, but sometimes I see stuff in my life happening and I feel like, is this fate? I mean, airplanes are a thing. Maybe it's not fate, but I don't take myself too serious. Don't worry. I'm not like, I mean, people believe in God, right? People think there's something after life. There's nothing crazy about saying stuff like this, but I don't know. I don't take it too serious. So I don't want to do this video anymore. So this video was really exciting, but still, maybe I don't care about YouTube tomorrow anymore, but I still feel good about it because I put some stuff out there. And it is part of my journey and how I approach my art, you know? You know, this is like, this sounds so funny to people, but I just look at myself. And then I just look at myself like, what if people look at me like if I should become a big artist? And I don't care if people laugh about me, but if I should become a big artist, and they just look at my channel, and then people just talk about my channel, and they say like, oh, this artist did this and this, and she shares this and this thoughts, you know, and she's documenting her life as an artist, as someone who doesn't I have a voice, but I don't really have a big readership right now. But she kept having those thoughts in this time. Like when she was around 28, she had those and those thoughts, and she was doing those videos to that time because she felt like really invested, and those were like her thoughts to that time. And it shows like the process of her as a person, as an artist. I wouldn't consider my videos art, but like, it's just parts of a human being you see, a little documentary you see. And that, I think, can be interesting to people in the future. And because I know that can be interesting to people in the future. I don't care about YouTube algorithm, but like maybe to people who are interested in my art. It's a momentum. And I think it feels like something greater than a lot of people do on YouTube. And I'm not making jokes here. I truly think that, you know? I think I'm standing out from a lot of other people on YouTube. And I think my videos can be inspirational even though they're not cutted. I think there's just something interesting about this, you know? So maybe there is more meaning for me now to YouTube. I don't know. As I feel weirdly shit right now. You know, it's really ironic. I talked about happiness, and now in my heart, I feel like shit. Right? I feel like I should, you know, sometimes even feeling shit makes me feel like shit. Makes me feel like I have to go back to my art, and then I feel great again. You know, the moment I feel shit and I feel like I have to do my art now, makes me feel happy again. I don't know if this is my body trying to tell me that I should go back to my art. Maybe this is like my body disciplining itself. I don't know. Maybe there's nothing wrong but with feeling shitty and guilty sometimes because it leads you to keep being disciplined. Maybe it's just another feeling that you need to thrive into the right direction. Because it's not like I don't feel depressed. You know, I don't feel bad in my brain. I feel good in my brain. I can feel my brain. Yeah, it's kind of people think I'm crazy. No, I feel my brain. My brain feels cold right now, but I feel my heart is really like I have it in my place where my heart is. I feel like like I should stop. I talked 1 hour. I spent 1 fucking hour on talking instead of drawing. I should stop doing this now. I should now go back to my art. That also says something about myself. It's not just what you do as an artist, it's also what you are as an artist. What you do in the moment you don't do art says also something about your art. What this person does in their breaks as an artist and why they choose to leave their art because they do something else for whatever reason. If it's a religious procedure, or they just can't do the art anymore. That says something about their art. And then when you look back at their art, you look at their art in a different way because you actually learn something new from their art. What the person is when they don't do their art. I truly think that is. Okay, I'm gonna stop the video now. Bye.